week on Down to Earth, flowers behind bars. We're in the United States where prisons are turning green.
I'm proud of this place. I can sit down with my grandma now and show her I know how to garden.
Recycling by hand, growing organic produce, composting. Inmates find redemption in conservation.
Can say that we're saving money and that we're changing lives to some degree.
Proof is in the prisoners, who've discovered new routes for success.
I got reintroduced to science, if you will, and so I left there more as a scientist than a prisoner.
This week we're down to earth in the United States, about to take you with us inside the Cedar Creek Corrections Centre. This prison is home to some of the most serious offenders in the state of Washington, but it's better known for the way its inmates have embraced a project that brings science and nature inside with an impact that goes well beyond these 4 barbed wire walls. Stafford Creek is at odds with most of the country's other prisons. For one, there are flowers, lots of them. There's also a plant nursery and a team of inmates with a green thumb.
My name is Toby. I'm 51 years old, and I'm an inmate at Cedar Creek Correction Center. My main interest in sustainability is raising the awareness of others to the fact that people are responsible for our environmental future. They really are nice, and they smell good, better in the sunshine, but
yeah, I haven't smelled any of them. As a matter of fact, somebody accidentally plucked some of them thinking they were weeds. Not me, of course.
it happens.
Yep.
23 years in prison. That's Toby's sentence for rape. He's already served nearly half his time, but it's only in the last few years that he's discovered a passion for horticulture, propagating these native seedlings which are used to restore prairies nearby.
So after I put them on this truck right here, I don't see them at all. I send them in good faith that somebody will do a good job putting them in the ground.
This is still prison territory, even if the inmates have more room to roam than they would in other jobs. And at 42 cents per hour, their pay is among the best. Offenders compete for this work.
If I didn't have this to do furniture, maybe that's what I would be doing. I wouldn't be outside ever. I wouldn't have a suntan. I wouldn't have dirt under my nails, and I wouldn't have a carrot to eat when I wanted one, and that would be detrimental to me, I think. It's no good to be in prison at all, but it's good to have something good to do while I'm here.
Toby is among 100 inmates at Stafford Creek who have what's known as sustainable jobs. Every day they leave their cells to work in areas such as recycling, conservation, or composting food waste from the canteen. Initially, the idea was simple. The prison wanted to cut its costs.
This is our food composting center. Prior to 2009, we used to send all the institution's food compost out to a separate entity, and we paid roughly about $125 a ton to do that. We produce almost a ton a day, so we do it all here, and we figure that's a savings between $50,000 to $75,000 a year for the institution.
Very quickly, though, the superintendent realised the project was having an effect on his inmates.
It's not a soft population here. 1 in every 5 guys is in for some kind of homicidal violence, and 1 in every 4 is in for a sex offense, and about every other one's in for a really violent either robbery or assault. So from a prison perspective, it helps me manage violence in the prison. The offenders are better behaved, and it makes a safer environment for both staff and offenders. Certain people think inmates should be locked up 24 hours a day, no TV, bread and water, and I don't have to talk to them, deal with them. That's not reality, though. I mean, 97% of the people are going to get back out, so you got to turn out a better product than you brought in, or at least try to turn out a better product.
This is Manny's second stint in prison, the most recent for robbing a bank. But inside this tent, the 53-year-old from Las Vegas is Stafford Creek's fish farmer, and these 40,000 tilapia are under his care.
You can't help but get wet out here.
So what we've got here is what, baby tilapia?
These are baby tilapia.
Oh, they're not easy to get.
Nope, they move fast. They're quick swimmers.
How old are these ones here?
These are a little over a month old. We raise them from fry. I'm going to show you over here.
Okay. So this is where the big guys are.
Yeah, this is where the big guys are. Let's see if I can get one. Oh, there's some over
No
here.
pressure.
There's a lot of fish in here. There's probably 1,000 fish in here. Oh, watch it, don't get wet.
And so what happens with these though? Once they're at the fully grown size?
Then we'll euthanize them, we'll put them to sleep, and they send them into the kitchen.
So the kitchen's got lots of tilapia now, do they?
They have lots of tilapia in the kitchen. Yeah, we sent in 2 batches. We sent 700 fish in a few weeks ago.
Is the sustainable element important to you, the fact that the fish are bred here and then fed to prisoners a couple of 100 meters from here?
Better this way than purchasing the fish from wherever they come from. Somebody farming the sea, raising them. You know, you're not depriving any of our resources to feed inmates. So, yeah, I think it's very important.
It was here in Washington state that the Sustainable Prison Project, or SPP, began in 2004. It was so successful it's since been copied in 9 other American states. Today we're heading to Seattle to meet Craig Ulrich, one of the project's pioneers. He's now working on a PhD in molecular biology, just like any regular university student. But not long ago he was behind bars for manslaughter after an accident with friends while drunk.
Prison is a very difficult time. A lot of people want to give up and not advance their life while they're in there, because it's kind of a really rough spot in your life. You're there obviously for a reason you don't want to be. But when you add something that keeps your attention, such as a scientific endeavor like we did for this project, your mind becomes occupied with that rather than the monotony of prison life. So instead of filling your time making bad decisions, you can keep your mind occupied and actually look forward to the next day, if you will. So it just keeps your mind from going a little crazy, if you will.
It's only now, with some distance, that Craig can see the change that took place.
I was there kind of as a long-term inmate, and then I got reintroduced to science, if you will, and so I left there more as a scientist than a prisoner.
This is where Craig Ulrich spent the last 2 years of his sentence, at the Cedar Creek Correction Centre, a minimum security prison where the inmates have a lot more freedom than at Cedar Creek. It also happens to be the birthplace of the state's Sustainable Prison Project.
My name is Christopher Ramos. I'm a proud member of the SPP at Cedar Creek Correctional Center. By being incarcerated, it's very easy for an individual to forget one's true self. But with the right kind of positive, productive things, an individual has a chance to rediscover that inner being. And that is exactly what took place in my life. This is great stuff. This is like liquid gold for the plants. You take this and you put a little bit on a dying plant, a dying tomato plant, and it does wonders. Wonders, 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 wonders. This is a treasure. It's a gold mine.
Christopher wasn't always this positive. Before Cedar Creek, he was kicked out of multiple prisons for bad behaviour. Today, in his organic greenhouse, he's more of a gardener than a gangster.
This greenhouse has been a struggle. It has. It's been a struggle. A lot of hours. I can't even tell you the countless hours that we spent in different kind of books and reading and asking questions and learning. And I never knew how to grow anything. I never knew how to garden anything. I never knew how to even weed right. So to get this job, I came in as a newborn baby, not knowing nothing. And so now, with the trials and tribulations and the jobs and the obstacles from learning it, we've learned how to properly garden and to produce a fine product.
All of the inmates here have less than 4 years before they're released. Some of them already exit the prison grounds daily to remove invasive plants in the adjacent prairies. After working in the Sustainable Prison Project, the directors hope one day they'll leave for good.
We are just now starting to have enough people involved in our work, released, and out in the real world for long enough to really understand whether they're coming back to prison or not. So we can't say for sure that we're having an effect on recidivism, but we can say that we're saving money, that we're restoring endangered species, and that we're changing lives to some degree.
This will be Christopher's 8th year in prison.
This is my palace, my motel suite. And this is like the holy Bible that helps me through my garden.
Christopher dreams of one day owning 10 or 20 greenhouses where he can grow organic vegetables at will. His time at Cedar Creek will not go to waste.
This is a lifelong lesson, a priceless lesson. This is something that you can't just forget. I mean, I could be an old man on my chair, rocking chair, and I'll remember the time that I worked at the worm farm. I mean, my sisters, they come to see me all the time, and when they see me, they see the change within me. You know what I mean? They're surprised. My godparents, they're surprised that I know about gardening and composting and vermicomposting. They're like, how do you know these words? So they find it very, very funny, but they're also fascinated, and they're happy to see the change within me. I remember the time. I always remember it.
Until then, the regular rhythm of lessons continues.
Why it's important for us to reduce water, waste, and other non-renewable resources.
It's no coincidence this class is known as Roots of Success. Education and job training are the two most proven methods for reducing recidivism. When Christopher gets out in 2 years, he'll have missed most of his 20s, but he'll have more opportunities in a society that has changed radically since he was last free.